Alrighty, everybody, welcome to our presentation today. My name is Trevor, and we're going to be talking about 2015 Halloween trends. And these trends come from the NRF, the National Retail Federation. This is where we get a lot of our statistics and information about the retail landscape, what's actually happening out there in retail, and how internet marketers, you guys, can be on top of it. Okay. So I'll start by, first of all, apologizing. I am a little under the weather and have since almost completely lost my voice, albeit I actually feel great. It's just all in my throat right now. So I apologize for the sort of scratchy voice you're going to hear during the webinar, but hopefully it's enough to where I can communicate some of this stuff that I feel like is pretty valuable. Okay. So I don't talk with a lot of inflection or a whole lot of emotion. At least you can understand why that is. Okay, so let's go through this just real quick, and then I'm going to offer some suggestions. This is just Halloween by the numbers. These are just interesting stats. I don't know how valuable they're going to be, but they are interesting. Halloween's a big holiday. There's 157 million Americans that are going to be celebrating it this year, and they say on average $74 per. So all that sort of equals out to $6.9 billion in Halloween spending. So it is a big holiday. You can see the trend kind of here at the bottom. It's not necessarily trending up or down. It's just, Halloween's just one of those holidays that gets celebrated by about the same percentage of people every year, and so a lot of that spending really is in decor and costumes. You can see up there at the top, there's $950 million spent in children's costumes. But even more so, and this is kind of the thing that I thought was interesting, adults spend more on their costumes than children do. So go figure, right? $1.2 billion in adult spending. So if you're going into this season thinking, oh, I just need to get stuff for kids, it's only kids' costumes I need, you're absolutely dead wrong. You should have almost more, according to these statistics, in adult costume stuff. So as you're thinking about how you can take advantage of Halloween, keep that in mind. The costume market is a pretty good size of it. Okay. They say millennials are more likely to participate in Halloween activities, which would mean so let's define a millennial. A millennial is somebody who's 18 to 34. Okay. And that's really your biggest demographic, is that 18 to 34. In fact, the stat here on the right is that 81% of those people plan on celebrating Halloween. I certainly would fall into that demographic. I'm 30. I'll be 31 this year, and we're celebrating. But my wife's already bought costumes for the kids, and anyway, we asked my son the other day what everybody was going to be, and he decided he's going to be Superman, which I have no idea where he came up with that, because he doesn't even know who Superman is. Like, we don't do Superman at our house, but I don't know where that came from. That's what he wants to be. He says his little sister is going to be Batman. Again, we're not even at the superhero phase, and so he wants his 1-year-old little sister to be a Batman, and then I'm supposed to be a dog, and my wife is supposed to be a cat. So according to our 4-year-old, he's got our Halloween all mapped out for us. So a lot of young families, of course, celebrate Halloween. Interesting stats, and not a lot we can do with these. Pets. If you're a pet owner, we're actually not, but if you have dogs, whatever, that's actually a pretty big trend. Halloween costumes for pets, and actually would make for a really interesting niche. So if you can get your hands on any Halloween pet costume suppliers, could be a good spot to be for sure. This is just more on just how people are going to spend the money they're going to spend. So you see the graph there at the bottom. You can see what percentages of people are going to do what. The vast majority of people, you see that orange bar there, are going to be handing out candy. So candy could be something we sell, but I mean, there's no margin in it. That's something for the big local stores. I wouldn't even consider going down that route. You've got the dark blue line is for or bars for a dress and a costume. The lighter blue is for pets. Um, the second biggest market for Halloween, apart from costumes, is the decor side of it. Outdoor decor, yard decor, indoor decor. Um, so if I were you guys and I'm trying to prep myself for Halloween, I'm thinking, okay, adult costumes, kids costumes, outdoor decor, and then sort of like pet costumes. Those are the main areas of emphasis if you're trying to figure out how you're supposed to be taking advantage of the holiday. Okay. This is more on the pet costumes. It says Fido and Kitty are more likely to share in Halloween celebrations with their millennial caretakers um, anymore. 1 out of 5 millennials will dress up their pet, etc. I won't dwell on this. Um, so this is kind of interesting. Where do people go to figure out what they're going to be for Halloween? Right? Two places, Instagram and Pinterest. I'm curious for those of you guys who are here live, how many of you guys actually use the one or the other, Pinterest or Instagram, for anything? That is, Instagram is becoming bigger and bigger. Almost, well, not as big as Facebook, but it's moving in that direction, and so is Pinterest. That's where people go to figure out what they want to be. So they search those places very specifically. I think that's interesting. Um, and this kind of shows where people go when they're looking to figure out what it is that they want to be in costume. And I guess this is relevant. You're thinking, okay, Trevor, why are we talking about this? Well, it's relevant because um, we want to know what kind of costumes to list, right? What's trending? Um, is it Superman? Is it Batman? Is it Harry Potter? Is it a Disney character? What is it? What kind of costume should we be listing, right? Um, so here's where people look, okay? Um, People just search online, it looks like. Some people shop locally. In fact, that 34% bar there is people who are shopping in a physical store. But see, that's becoming less and less, um, right? Because of how the ease of shopping online. Halloween sales are going to be bigger this year than any other year ever on the internet. Now, here's the stat that I've been spouting out to a lot of you guys this week. I've heard from some of you guys that you feel like you've already missed the boat on the Halloween season. Okay, so you have not for sure. Um, you're gonna see here in this graph. This is a graph of when the spending takes place. Okay, so have we missed the boat for Halloween? It's what, October 2nd today, right? We definitely haven't. In fact, you can see 41% of all the Halloween shopping happens on the first 2 weeks of October. So we're in the most busy portion of the Halloween selling season right this second, and that's going to continue clear to the last 2 weeks of December. So, yeah, according to this, we've got 66% of all of the shopping that's yet to come. So no, you haven't missed it. There is actually a fair chunk that happens in September, and so for future reference, you may want to do a lot of your Halloween research probably late August, leading into September, and then you can really capitalize on the market last part of September and then into October. So this is still a really good time, which is why I feel like this training today is pretty timely for what we want to do. Okay, um, so that's all as far as the stats I wanted to cover. I actually want to cover more of the practical side. Where do you get your Halloween stuff to sell? Okay, so here's sort of if you want to, if you want to take a little extra risk, you would have had to have done this already. So this probably isn't going to be an option for this year. But I tend to buy a lot of my Halloween stuff directly from manufacturers out in China. I know some of you guys don't agree with buying things out of China. I get that, but at the same time, a lot of the world's products are made out there, and a lot of the best prices are to be found directly out of China. So you can come in and do a search for Halloween, whatever, right? Decorations, costumes, and AliExpress, ALIexpress.com is going to have some tremendous opportunities. Okay, just cheap, cheap stuff. The reason I love Halloween so much being a retailer is that it is just so hard for people to really figure out what something is worth. Because when you buy Halloween stuff, the margins are super high. Usually the stuff is, I think, way overpriced. The margins are high for that reason because the cost of creating Halloween products is nothing, but people pay an arm and a leg for them. So if you can utilize a place like AliExpress, you can come in and you can get really cheap Halloween decor. Seriously, way cheap, right? Stuff that you can mark up and sell for 300-400% its cost on eBay. Now it's risky, right? It's risky because you have about a month and a half to sell it, and you have to buy this stuff probably a month before. So you should really be shopping and buying Halloween product to carry some inventory on as early as probably I don't know. I'd say mid-July at the latest, because if you buy mid-July, sometimes from a place like this out of China, AliExpress, it's going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to get to you. That's going to put you mid-August to early September. You want to have that stuff in your possession at the start of September to give yourself the full 2 months to sell it. I've done this before, guys, and I've had clients that have prepped themselves well by buying some inventory, and Halloween can be just a tremendous moneymaker for you. Okay, so I won't spend a lot of time here browsing around. I'll let you guys do the browsing. That's just Halloween decorations. You could go to Halloween costumes and find all sorts of stuff. Now the same rules apply though. If you've learned anything about international product sourcing, you need to be careful about copyrights and intellectual property. In other words, I see something like this, a little Disney Frozen dress, right? Sure, a lot of you guys know the Disney movie Frozen, super popular still, and you know what? You got to be super careful because most of this stuff is not officially licensed, meaning Disney probably isn't giving this person the right to create this dress and market it as Elsa's dress from Frozen. So if you bought a bunch of these, I bet they'd sell like crazy on eBay. But you run the risk of getting your listings taken off by eBay because they don't allow for copyright infringement. So that's if Disney catches us. I suppose I could go here and buy a bunch of these and make a ton of money, and nothing would happen because you see it happen all the time on eBay. But there is a chance that they would, and I'd hate to be left with 15 dresses that I can't get rid of. So I'd be careful about copyright issues. If you've never done any international product sourcing, talk to your coach about it. There's some little nuances you want to know about, but there's also a lot of really good generic material here. Generic costumes. It doesn't have to be like a Harry Potter costume, which could be a copyright issue. You can buy a lot of good generic stuff that'll work just great. For example, last year my son was a banana for Halloween. Okay, right? I mean, it's his favorite thing to eat in the world. My wife found this adorable costume, and my son was a banana. Well, banana costume right here. I can't remember what we paid for it. Um, I think we bought it off of Amazon for probably 25-30 bucks, and you can see here, you can get some costumes cheap, and you can even filter your results a little bit. You can filter this price, lowest price first, and see if you can't find some cheap costumes, and you often can. Okay, so using AliExpress is a great way to do it. Just not a great way if you're not into carrying inventory. Not that you have to buy a lot of this stuff at once, but you would have to handle the shipping yourself because this isn't a drop shipping option. And you gotta have a little bit of money, right, to sink into something, and there's got to be a little bit of planning. So not that you have to go crazy. A lot of my clients on their first Halloween, I've seen you guys do, 200-300 bucks and turn that into $1,000 in a year. You know what I mean? And then next year, when you're a little more confident, spend 3 grand and turn that into 10, right? Like that's the way you want to do it. You just ease into it. So, but if you're not into the whole carrying your own inventory thing, not a big deal. Um, you've got drop shipping options, right? So you can certainly use retail drop shipping options. Now, let me show you guys something real quick. Some of you guys may already be familiar with this, but if you go to Google and you do a search for Amazon bestseller list, okay, Amazon bestseller list. It's this link right here. The actual address is amazon.com/best-sellers/ZGBS. Okay, I'm gonna send this out to you guys that are here with me live. I'll send out the link so you have it. This is something I address in other webinars, but I use this during Halloween to figure out what Halloween costumes are most popular right now. Okay, I believe the category you look under is I believe it's toys and games, and I think anyway. Let me just double check this to see. It might be a different category. No, this is a good category. You can see. Okay, so Amazon bestseller list is it's a list that is put together to show by hour which products are selling best on Amazon. So you can see here this Cards Against Humanity game has literally had the top spot in this category for a long time. It's one of the most popular products on Amazon, and this is by hour, so you can kind of see items will move up and down. I come here to figure out what Halloween costumes kids want the most. Well, look at number 9 right here. It's an Elsa Frozen light up dress. I would probably be listing this type of thing. That's obviously the most popular costume as of now is this Frozen dress. If you scroll down and continue to look through the list, you'll see other costumes. You'll see this is another Elsa dress right here. This is an Elsa crown. So it looks like for little girls this year, Frozen is going to be what's most popular in the costume area. If we continue to look, we're going to see Batman here for boys. That's number 51 on this list. Spider-Man costume, Star Wars stuff. Star Wars generally is big because of the movie coming out, so on and so forth. Here's another Elsa dress. So you get the point. So I mean, based on this right here, you can tell pretty easily what's most popular in costumes. Yet another variation of an Elsa dress, Elsa shoes. You get the point. Frozen is what everybody wants to dress their kid up as this year. Okay. So this is a cool way to kind of get a gauge on what's hot because this changes every hour. If you check this in a week or so, you'll probably see more costumes up in this, and you'll be able to get a better idea for what's going to work. Okay. There was something I saw the other day. It's this one right here. They actually have this list of top costumes right here. I'm going to blow this up on my screen a little bit so you guys can see. If you are looking for costumes this year, this is based on a survey done here this year in 2015. Here's your top costumes: top adult costumes, top children's costumes, top pet costumes. Okay. So we saw lots of princess dresses. There it is. Number 1, princess. Number 5, Frozen. That fits in line with exactly the research that we were doing on Amazon. Batman right there, superheroes. I didn't see any animal costumes for kids, but anyway, I would use this as a pretty good gauge of what kind of costumes I ought to consider listing up on the eBay. Okay. So Also, keep this in mind. This is kind of the last piece of advice I'll give you, and then before my voice completely goes out here, we're going to finish up the presentation. Last thing, don't feel like you have to shop or drop ship all of your Halloween gear from Walmart or some of the other major retailers. Um, you don't need to. That's what a lot of our clients do, and it does work for some. But be creative. Go out to Google, and this is what I usually do. I'll type in, Halloween outdoor decorations or whatever it is I'm interested in, and I'm going to start hunting for other retail suppliers. Okay, not maybe the run of the mill ones, not the ones that are commonplace. Um, this one I've never heard of before. It's called Wholesale Halloween Costumes.com. This could be one of those little gems that you find that ends up being great as a supplier. Um, and that's kind of what you're looking for, because most people who are using retail drop shipping, they tend to use the major retailers, and that's fine. There's money to be had in that, but the people that really blow up with this strategy, they go out and they find their own retail suppliers. Like I said, not the household names. I've never even heard of this website before, but I'd be willing to try some of their products and see if I can't get some sales going, right? So I've mentioned this a lot in the past, but one of my very best clients that's ever done retail drop shipping, he does at least 90% of his sales from this no-name retailer he randomly found on Google that nobody else was retail drop shipping with on eBay. And the products were fairly unique. So even though he was priced a little high, right, because that's what happens with a retail drop shipper, you have to price higher. But even though he was priced higher, he still sold stuff like crazy and continues to do it. So there's a lot of power in just going out there and finding your own retail suppliers out in Google. And if you're unfamiliar with some of these companies, feel comfortable calling them or emailing them and making sure that they're okay with you doing some drop shipping. You don't necessarily have to use the word drop ship because they may not know what that is, but you can say something like, "Hey, if I need to send this, if I order from you, can I have it sent to an address that's different than my billing address? And can I send it as a gift because I don't necessarily want the invoice to show up in the packaging?" And most of them will be okay with that. So, experiment with it. Like, if what you're doing right now for Halloween isn't working, if you've got listings that aren't selling, get creative and go out there and try some other stuff. We want to teach you guys to be able to do that. Okay. All right. So, guys, my voice is literally almost out of gas here. So I probably should finish up. I'll take just a few questions if you have them. Otherwise, I hope this was helpful just for your Halloween prep, not only for this year, potentially for next year if you want to do some of that international sourcing. Okay? All right, so let's just go ahead and give you guys a minute and ask questions. If no questions, then we'll finish up. Thanks, everybody. And by the way, we'll be having this again next Friday, hopefully with a voice that's a little easier to understand. Hopefully this wasn't too bad for you guys. So I'll give you a sec, ask any questions that you've got. Otherwise, we'll finish up. Thanks. Delia, I appreciate that. That's been the advice. A lot of honey, lemon water, warm water, right? Delia says warm honey, lemon, and water. I sure appreciate that, and hopefully I sound better by next week. Thank you. I don't see any other questions, and maybe that's because you guys have pity on me and you're gonna not have me speak anymore. So I appreciate that. Um, I appreciate your time. One comment that was made earlier, Judy, you said I haven't used Pinterest, but my son, who's 32, told me to go there. He says that's what he uses rather than eBay and Amazon. Yeah, Pinterest is getting bigger and bigger, and for those of you guys who have websites, it really is a great way to do some marketing. So we'll be doing some trainings on that a little bit later. But thank you for the well wishes, everybody. I hope this helped you out a little bit and gave you maybe a unique perspective on what you want to do, taking advantage of sales for October. Okay? All right, guys. We'll see you all next week. Have a good weekend. See you soon.